Well, wow. I just finished recording my first podcast ever, and I'll be honest with you. I think my first guest is going to be hard to beat. Garnet Morris is a successful entrepreneur who had one of the most successful insurance companies in Canada. Now he owns a growing functional medicine clinic, and his philosophy of success is simple but not easy. I think you're going to enjoy this as much as I did. Well, Garnet, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's great to see you again.
Well, thank you. It's good seeing you too, fellow Genius Network members. A cool way to be able to interact with each other. So,
Yeah. When I saw your Genius Network speech, I think you may be the next Jim Rohn or Tony Robbins, but you may not even know it. And I don't know that you realize how big of an impact you've already had on my life. I got a chance to preview your book and wrote a little testimonial about that. So, but before we get into all that, I know it's not always been sunshine and rainbows. Tell me a little bit about your business and how you got into that.
um, so there's an old saying, I guess, that necessity is the mother of invention. I started out of high school in banking. I was pretty good at it. So I moved up banking things, but I always kind of had a entrepreneurial itch. So at 21, I bought a small town hotel. So this is not like a Hilton or a Holiday Inn Express. This is a town of 400 people, a little 8 hotel rooms, a bar, little restaurant. And so I bought that with a friend of mine, and we it's not a very nice thing to say, but we sort of lied to 3 or 4 finance companies to borrow the down payment. We told them we were going to go to Europe. And so we got the down payment, put it down on this little hotel, and he couldn't handle it. So I bought him out for what was in the pool table. I made no equity in it, and I ran it for a couple of years and sold it, made a little bit of money. And then I went back into banking, and then I went in and bought a bigger hotel with 3 other people, and that went okay for a while. And then I think I got what is referred to as big tycoon syndrome. And so I started buying more of them, and I just kept buying them until all my money was gone and I was broke. And that took a little bit of time, but it basically was, I was really good at selling myself on buying the hotels. I was really good at telling myself that these would be way more successful if I was running them, and I was really horrible at running them.
So you were putting a little bit of money in and then financing the rest?
No, I figured out how to 100% finance it. So, I mean, that was, so I did a mortgage, and I could do a vendor take back, and, a little of this, a little of that, and I could buy these for no money. So I thought I could just make more at each hotel to help the ones that weren't making money survive. So it was kind of kind of an idiot's approach to things. So to just tell you where I started. So I built myself up. So I'd have been 27 or 28, I was a millionaire. And then I just kept going backwards until I was bankrupt. And so then I started into insurance business, because when I was in the credit union, we used to sell insurance for mortgages and different things. So I thought, I could sell insurance. And I actually turned out I was really good at it. And so that's how I recovered and got back on track.
Is that life insurance or business insurance?
No, life insurance. Yeah. We ended up, so that the story gets a little bit more complicated. So I just didn't walk in and all of a sudden, boom. But I started getting coaching. And so I joined Strategic Coach, which is a Canadian coach around. He coaches in Toronto and Chicago. So I've been in that program for 30 years. And then when I joined, you had to make a list of everything you were doing in your life that was keeping you from being successful. So I had to make a list. So I was 330 pounds. That was keeping me from being successful. I was doing stupid things. That was keeping me from success. So I thought I was, one man down. I got all these great ideas. I just thought I could do them. So all those things, you had to make a list of all those things that were needing cleaned up in your life to become successful. And I believe in that. If you're an entrepreneur and you're not growing as fast as you grow, that's the first thing you do. And you just be honest with yourself. So then what I discovered is that So, for example, I was 330 pounds. So I got a coach. So, I mean, I told a bit of the story about how I started losing weight. But basically, I went to a doc. I said to the doctor, I'm too fat. I want to lose weight. The lady doctor said, well, I'll tell you what to do. She said, but don't expect me to be your mother. Like that is a little bit of a oof. And so she sent me to a sports psychologist where we talked about self-defeating behaviors. He sent me to a dietitian. She sent me to a personal trainer. And so I just kept following the coaches, doing what I was supposed to, because I learned that I just knew how to eat to get fat. I didn't learn how to eat to get not fat. Simple. And so then I did the same in business. So in business, I mean, and these are things that are absolutely near and dear to my heart. These are things I think about every day. I hired a guy to help me in my business. So what he did is he came in, and the first thing we did is write out what my values were. And he says, just stick to them. Honesty, don't lie, resilience, like all the things that if you think about it, you just say, yeah, like that really makes good sense. Like if I just don't lie to people, I mean, then I have nothing to ever worry about. I don't have to think about what I said over there. And life's not a popularity contest. So this, I mean, I don't have any original thoughts. These are just quotes from coaches. But, you say it's almost a given that half the people in the world won't like you. That's why the divorce statistics are half of the marriages end in failure, because half of the people just won't like you. So don't try to be all things to all people. Stick to your values. Be with people that support those values. Be with people that have those values, and don't deviate.
Wow.
Simple. But just think about it. Like, what if you just decided you're never going to tell a lie? So then think about how your customers think about you. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be mean. Sometimes you just have to say, well, I just don't want to have that discussion. So someone saying, what do you really think of me? I'm not going to tell them I like them when I don't like them. So I say, I just don't really have that discussion. It's just I'm uncomfortable discussing those things because I am.
So prior to that values conversation, were you not doing those things? Were you not being true to yourself?
Well, I can tell you the person I was lying to all the time was me.
What were you lying to yourself about? What were you saying that wasn't true?
So I'll just give you an example. So I was 330 pounds. I knew I was fat, but I kept saying it's not that fat. I was getting crazy numbers of speeding tickets, but I didn't tell myself you're driving like a moron and you've got 2 kids. I'm saying, well, I don't drive that much over the speed limit. Think about it. Like I never got a speeding ticket doing 90 miles an hour. I just got a lot of speeding tickets doing 73 when the speed limit was 60.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little bit stupid.
So what were you actually saying to yourself internally to change that? I know a lot of people use the power of like I am statements. So were you using those, or did you have affirmations or something on the wall, or how are you doing it to change the mental chatter?
I follow American politics because we don't really have politics of our own in Canada. And so one of the things that George Bush Jr. said that I really, really liked and that I never have forgotten, and I heard him say it on television, I'm the decider. He said that. And I don't know if it was in regards to the Iraq War or whatever in regard to, but that stuck. And so it is really simple. If you're going to lose weight, then just decide you're going to, period. End of story. You don't have to put anything anywhere. You just decide. And then you say, now I need a lose weight coach because I only know how to gain weight. I don't know how to lose weight. I never took that in school. So I took in school how to gain weight. You drink beer, you eat potato chips, you eat garbage, you drink pop. So I have mastered the art of gaining weight. I could write books on it, but I've not mastered the art of losing weight. I don't have a system for it. So I need to hire a coach to get a system, just like people go to your school. Like they can't just go learn that by reading it on the back of a box of potato chips. So they go to school, you have coaches or teachers, and they follow the curriculum and they get their designation. Well, it's the same in everything, in my view. So if you go back now and you look at every aspect of my success came from having a coach.
Was Olivia one of the coaches that helped you lose weight, or were you already
No.
further along on that journey?
So I was a long ways along. So I was already down to probably well, no, I'm at my lowest weight now because I'm on another coaching kick. So I'm now below my grade 11 weight. And I'm an ectomorph, so I should be long and lean, and I finally am. So I'm 6'2" and I weigh 183 pounds.
That's incredible.
And I'm lean. And I can tell you I'm 83% muscle and very low fat. Not too low of fat. I could still do just a little bit of a tweak, but probably 3 pounds because a little bit of visceral fat left around my belly. So Olivia is one of the coaches I met along the way, but we had a different relationship than I ever had with anyone else because she was a really unique person. So our conversations got really intense really fast, and there was no agenda beyond the conversation. So there was no.
Sorry, just to fill everybody else in who may not know, Olivia was your co-author in the book that's coming out soon, 17 Runs.
And so she was my trainer for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and then we moved away. But we stayed very close, but close in almost a father-daughter kind of way. Like there was never any tension that you would, because I was single at the time and nothing like that. So it was really, and then we just had a way of getting into these deep philosophical conversations around stuff. So that the book actually is just kind of almost a summary of a collage of our conversation. So they would start on a Monday and they would continue into Tuesday, into Wednesday, into Thursday, into Friday. And we might talk about something the whole week.
Wow. So I have a picture and I'll put it up on after the podcast showing your before and after. When you were 40 years old, it's a picture of you at 330 pounds, I'm assuming, with a cigarette hanging out of your mouth.
Yeah.
So you hired a
smoking. Yeah.
You were good at smoking. So you hired a coach. Were you reading books? Were you doing other things that were changing your life? Or was this just one of the first domino that seemed to fall was back to strategic coach and Dan Sullivan's advice to make a list of things that you wanted to stop doing?
So to put it into kind of a sequence, so I always read a lot. I just changed what I was reading. So I went into strategic coach. We started down this process of cleanups. I started to learn that I just can't do this by myself, that, if coaching from Dan Sullivan is good, then having other coaches is good. So I started basically adapting the philosophy of being coachable. And I tell you that in every business owner, if you don't have a series of people in your life that are coaches, you'll get stuck. And coaches are a lot of different things. So I really do want to talk about my today coaches, but I want to just kind of take you through the progress because it's not that complicated. So you start in this evolution and so I had someone come and run workshops with myself and my staff on values, on mission. So mission is another really, really critical thing for an entrepreneur. And so he said that unless your mission has the word best in it, you're kidding yourself. So I'll give you an example. You want to be the best paramedical school in North America. Now, you only have one store today or one branch. It's in Austin. Your plan probably is to have one in Houston, one in Louisiana, like everywhere. So you say, we are going to run the best paramedical training school, period. Now, you say, yeah, that's kind of exciting. But boy, like that just makes me sick to my stomach. I said, okay, well, let's give you the other option. I want to run the 7th best paramedical training school in Austin, Texas.
It doesn't resonate.
We don't train to be 7th best. Either we're going to be the best and we're going to do what it takes or find something else to do. Full stop. And I'm not joking. And when you have that conversation with yourself and you say, am I doing what it takes to be the best? That's the American way. But we tell ourselves little stories. But if you actually say, my mission statement in the first insurance business I had when it really took off, I will be the best available resource to business owners seeking to optimize their net worth. The word insurance is not in there because insurance was not always the solution to be the best available resource. Sometimes it was an introduction to someone over here, sometimes that. So I would just do what was to be the best.
That's genius.
It's simple when you think about it. Like, it's just simple. It's a really simple thing. So if you look in the mirror and say, I have a business, and am I really, really, really trying to be the best business in my field?
Is that the strategy that you used to go from wherever you were in the insurance business at age 40 to where you were so far ahead of your competition that you were something like 10 times further ahead? Or was it something else?
Nope. And I use it every day when I get up, because if I'm invested in lots of businesses, I've become very well off. There's a very simple formula to that. I think anybody can be well off if they just do certain things right. And I could tell you philosophically is to do more smart things than stupid things, and do that over time. You'll usually be okay. So everything I do, we won't even go in it unless we can be the best at it. And we won't rest until we're best at it. So it's not just something that comes out of my mouth. Like if I can't see how we can be best, like it's a non-starter. So we all have our geniuses. We all have our things that we can be best at. And we keep getting different things throughout life as we mature, as we read, as we learn. So going back to your original question, I kept reading, but I started reading different things. So I would say, 1, become coachable, but 2, learn yourself. And I can just go through in rapid order. I did almost every aptitude test you can do. I did Strength Finder, I did Myers-Briggs, I did Colby, I did Plum, I did all those things. And I had the people that sponsor those programs interpret them for me, so I got a good understanding of who I am. Then I started reading religious philosophy. So I started with the Dalai Lama, and I read through The Art of Happiness at Work. I read through How to See Yourself as You Are. I started reading books on the philosophy of it's today and doing the right thing today. Then I started Thich Nhat Hanh and learned the art of compassion, but compassion with the sort of discernment, so that you go into life every day prepared to help people. So if I can help you in some way, that's my mission in life. But if you keep coming back and wanting help, and you're not taking action with what we did talk about, then I have a sort of discernment. So it's off with your head. I just don't want to have a relationship. Simple as that. So then that forces you to just be around people that are helping other people. So we're all growing and helping and pulling each other along.
That's amazing. When we train paramedics, we have them circle around airway, breathing, and circulation. Everything that they do, no matter what happens on the scene, they just focus around those 3 things. Are there 3 things or something similar that you did in your business? You say that they're simple.
So I've learned what I'm not good at, and so I don't do those things.
That's definitely a strategic coach thing.
Oh yeah, but it's actually a life thing. I mean, it's, if you just give you a simple analogy, guys that are 6'10" and weigh 340 pounds probably aren't sprinters. So they learn that. They're probably basketball players or football players in sports, or doing a sport where mass and strength matters more than speed. So when you think of it that way, it's a very common, simple approach to life. So I'm really good at simplifying things. So I can take a very complex tax idea and I can break it down and things. So I had a rule. I never took a presentation more than 1 page, ever. Still don't. Why? Because I have ADD. I'll lose track halfway through if it's 8 pages, but 1 page I can concentrate on. But it also forces me to focus on what is the problem to which I am a solution, or my idea is a solution. So I don't have a pitch deck that talks about blah, blah, blah. I'm there and I'm focusing on this is the problem I believe you have, and here is how I can solve this problem better than anybody. And if I don't have a better than anybody solution, I will try to introduce you to the better than anybody solution.
That's
So
really
if
good.
you have a complex tax problem and I haven't got if I haven't got what I believe is the best available solution, then I will know a tax attorney who I believe would have the best available solution. And so then, do I have credibility with you? Yes, because you see that I have your best interest in heart, which I do. And, we really have a common goal of trying to solve this particular problem.
And that's what entrepreneurs do, is they solve problems for money,
Well,
ideally.
but that's what they should be doing. But sometimes we get confused. And so this is where we don't tell ourselves the truth. Again, so if you go back and say, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm just going to just use your business. I mean, this is the first time I really got to talk about saying, so you train paramedics. Now,
Right.
we've already talked about you don't want to be the seventh best school. So you want to be the best school. Now, the first thing you have to do is say, and every morning when I wake up, I'm going to look in the mirror to make sure I'm not lying to myself about whether I'm best. Because some days I'm tired and I don't feel like being the best. And so I'm not going to allow myself to take a shortcut, which then leads you to, another strategic coach thing or whatever you want. I mean, it's also in Drucker's books on the roles and responsibility management. It's in Jim Collins. These are themes that really smart business consultants understand. So you cannot be the best in a business if you don't have the best people. So people, oh, wow, I just I really wanted to get a this, but he was just too expensive. And I'm saying, nope, if you are the best, you hire the best, you pay them the best, and you expect the best, and you deliver the best, and your business will just go crazy.
This is gold.
But simple. So, and then again, this is a business article. It was in Harvard Business 15 years ago. Strategy is simple rules. I'm going to be the best. And I'm not going to lie to myself. And I'm going to be able to continually explain to myself how I'm the best and no compromising. And that'll be the family philosophy. We do things we can be the best at. So, I mean, there's some of the things that I read. I mean, we tell ourselves things for our own ego. Like there's just so many things that we say. But if you say, well, I'm not going to lie to myself about whether we're the best or not, I'm just going to get up and decide I'll suck it up and I'll make the changes that'll make me the best.
So 2 questions kind of pop up. What if you're really tired of doing what you're doing, or somebody out there is really tired of doing what they're doing and don't have the energy to keep going in whatever business they're currently in? Do you suck it up and say, I'm going to be the best and then exit? Or can you be the best in multiple areas at the same time?
So I'm going to answer your question with a completely different answer than you're expecting. So if you loved your business at one time and you don't love it today, you've screwed something up.
Really? What makes you say that?
Well, why would you unlove something?
Something changed.
Like, give me an example. Who changed? You did. Give you an example. So, I mean, I have all these isms, but so if I don't like something, the first thing I look at is me. What changed in me? Then I'm saying, well, I just feel a little run down. All my buddies are golfing and, and I really, I read this book and I should have a quality of life. So I am now building dissatisfaction in myself for no particular reason other than that. So my view is I'm 70. Whatever, it doesn't think I'm still have more punch than most guys half my age. So what I did to be able to continue to prosper and grow and be healthy is I started a medical clinic that specialized in preventative medicine. And I went and got the best functional medicine doc in North America to be my partner. And we opened it, and now we have about 100 and some people from all over North America that come there who want to be the best. And we do the things to keep them super healthy. And we don't try to be the treatment place. We try to be the diagnostic place to figure out what it is that's causing you to feel that way.
So for those who don't understand functional medicine, it's still fairly new, but will you kind of enlighten them about what functional medicine is and how it kind of came about and where it's going?
So functional medicine has been around for a long time, and different cultures, different language, different ways of describing it. But in our clinic, we spend so your annual physical is 2 days long. So we test everything. So now we know we have markers for everything, and we start to build programs to keep things from going south. So, for example, we do all brain testing, and we have a really kind of special brain testing program. So if your brain vital signs are starting to drop off, then we have protocols to get them back to normal. Now it might be V cells, it might be a referral down to Argentina where they have a really specialty service that they're working back and forth with an American university on. It might be whatever, but it will be something that will try to get that problem going. Sometimes guys, I mean, you argue with me, to be or not, I know this to be a fact. We get into be in our late 40s, early 50s, our testosterone starts to drop. And so I tell people the best way to diagnose that is if you have this overpowering desire to go golfing all the time. I mean, it's because like I'm out in business. I'm out hunting all the time. I'm out growing my business. If I start golfing all the time, I'm just looking for my golf ball because I'm left-handed and right-eyed. I never know where the damn thing goes. So, I just add testosterone and keep in business. And I mean, it's a bit of a joke, but if you find yourself, you're taking your eye off the ball, you're not doing stuff, you got to say, why is that happening? And is there really something metabolically that I should be looking at? Am I burnt out? What am I doing? When am I getting to sleep? So you start to change the habit. I mean, I still have a zest for what I do. Now I do it different because I have a great business partner who's unbelievable. And so I'm more the theory, more, kind of I'm kind of have his back in a way, but I also continually generate new ideas and start to design things to solve different problems that I see out in the things. So I'm now at kind of the junction of insurance and healthcare, but not healthcare insurance, but just using all the tools to help with retention and different things like that. So I'm solving bigger problems and, just kind of rolling along.
Do you think that functional medicine is going to change insurance, health insurance overall? Because if we can prevent things that, to me, looking at it, it looks like it would be cheaper to pay for a functional medicine screening versus some of the long-term effects of coronary catheter and some of these other things. What do you think?
Well, the problem that there is with functional medicine, it's very, very doctor-centric at a time when we have our acute shortage of doctors, and it takes a couple of years to get your functional medicine designation. There's not that many. And, when you figure that when you come for your annual medical, you're probably spending between 5 and 7 hours with the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, so you compare that. So you figure like how many doctors we need, and this is for people that are healthy because we can keep people healthy. So, we do screening, we send blood to Europe, we do blah, blah. So we will actually pick up stage 0 and stage 1 cancers if they're there. Well, when at that level, you can fix them. We'll start to see the deterioration of your brain. We'll start to see things breaking down. So we want to get at it before the check engine light comes on. But it's very doctor-centric. So I have one of my personal missions, I want to be able to democratize functional medicine. So people send me stuff all the time, but I just bought a quarter of a nutrition company. They have an app. It was designed by the interventional cardiologist that did all the original research into diet to reverse heart disease. So if we get that everywhere, that is going to have a huge impact on the average American. So they don't have to master this. They don't have to master that. They just follow the damn app. They tick off what they don't like. It makes them a meal plan, gives them the recipes, gives them a grocery list, and you can even hit send and Instacart them in the groceries. So I'm doing that because I can get on my soapbox and I can say, like, this is simple. But if you won't do this, forget all the rest of the crap, because if you're not doing this, none of that other stuff is going to matter. So I'm talking to the doc that designed all this, and I'm saying, I eat fish lots, but I take fish away. He says, Garnet, eat the damn fish. Like, that's simple. And I say that's pretty wise.
You can eat the fish.
Yeah.
So that was going to be one. That was going to be one of my questions for you. Are you going to democratize functional medicine? So what are the other big dominoes that need to fall in this?
Well, you got to do that one first. So then that involves not lying to yourself, and knowing that it's not perfection. It's just not eating stupid over time. So
Yes.
if you eat clean all the time, and one Sunday you ate a bowl of chips watching a football game, that's just fine. But you don't do it every night before you go to bed. You did it once, that's going to have to hold you till, the basketball playoffs, just as an example, right? So kind of doing smart things over time. And if you master that, the next thing you need to do is to get enough sleep. So we all wear these sleep apps now to prove to ourselves our sleep is inadequate. So we're really smart that way. Yep, I got 3 different sensors, and I can prove to you my sleep is inadequate. Well, I got reading my phone till I go to bed, blah, 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 blah. And then the third thing is to keep moving. So it doesn't really, I went through all the fitness stuff. I still exercise every morning. I have a exercise regime that was set out by the heart specialists for guys that have inherited really horrible heart genes. So I do this on Monday, this on Tuesday, this on Wednesday. But if I've had a really long day and it's 11:30 at night, I'm finished work, I cancel the next morning because the sleep is more important than the exercise. But
That's really
I only do it once. Because if you start doing it more than once, you've got a bad habit. And so, I shouldn't work till 11 o'clock, and I usually don't. But the odd time something happens and you have to. So then, I don't make the second dumb decision. I made one dumb decision working till 11. The second one would be to say I'm getting up again at 6 and going to exercise, because you're just wrecking your body.
Yeah.
So I say, well, that was really dumb working till 11. I'm not going to do that again, probably at least for a month. And then I'm just going to text to the trainer saying, don't come tomorrow morning because I didn't get enough sleep. And I know I'm probably doing more bad than good, but I'm not going to stay up late and do stupid things again for at least a month. And so off we go. So I would say in a month, 3 weeks out of 4, I would work out 5 times. The 4th week, I'd do something stupid and not work out once. And so simple.
Just basically, like Seinfeld says, just keep checking the boxes. Try not to break the chain.
Yeah, try to do more smart things than stupid things and do it over time.
Yeah, I can see how it's that compounding effect. Eventually, it'll pay off. It may not feel like it today, eating healthy, but over time, it's definitely going to.
Yeah, this blew my mind. I met this company, and I met the founder, and he's like a 65-year-old interventional cardiologist. He said, well, I did my thesis on this. Is not new science. It's been around forever. Of course, the Italians have known it since the time of the Colosseum. Like, it's not rocket science. But
Yeah,
we keep tricking ourselves into thinking there's a magic bullet there somewhere. And I'll tell you the other one that's kind of a bugaboo is AI. So the AI is in every sentence now, except it isn't yet. And so AI is still just an amalgamation of what the people who are building the app figured they could feed in to teach the machine what other people thought. So, I look for ways if we can use it, but I don't get fixated that it could solve all of my problems. I solve all my problems by being best.
So do you have that same mindset even when you're working out? Do you say, I'm going to be the best at working out? How do you frame that with your own personal health?
Okay, so I have a philosophy of life. I love being in business. I love to help other people. And I cannot do that if I'm not healthy. To be healthy, one must exercise. So I am not training to be the strongest 70-year-old in the pond. I'm not training to be doing an Ironman at 70 because it's no different. So I just tell people I'm like a 1954 Cadillac. I still got the plastic on the seats. So nothing is wrecked because I never was over exuberant at fitness. In fact, I hate it, but I still do it every day and I do it to be fit. So it's not to be best. I want to be best at what I do in business, and I want to be an amazing partner to my wife. And those two things, just enough best things for me in my lifetime. So all the other things fit underneath, to be able to be the best at this, I need to stay healthy. To be healthy, I need to sleep. I need to eat right. I need to exercise. Doesn't mean I need to do an Ironman.
That's really great. So I want to talk a little bit about your book, 17 Runs. What's the title from, and when is it coming out?
So June the 2nd, it comes out, and the title was originally 15 Runs, but the editors changed it because they weren't listening when we were talking about it. But it's to represent I train every day. So we had probably over a course of a year training for a half marathon, training for different things. We probably worked out over the course of the year. So a lot of time. So it's kind of a thing, because our conversations would start and they would run for weeks.
All right.
So then if you looked at values, I got values. So then we would be talking about values, we'd be going back and forth. But the one thing that she saw in me, that I just didn't make stuff up, and she doesn't either. And so we could have a great conversation because we didn't have to have our guard up.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen yourself as a mentor? I was trying to do research about you, and there's not a lot out there. And then now this book is there, and I saw your Genius Network speech. But I think you have this amazing ability that you could influence a lot of people. So I'm glad that you're putting a book out. Have you thought of doing anything else?
So I have I keep using this word over and over, but so you saw me at Genius Network. I've got to know Joe Polish over the years. He interviewed me. I was very grateful. He read the book. I was very grateful. So I have one of the chapters in the book is on gratitude and generosity. So I have been given plenty in life. Believe me, I have plenty. And so I don't need to get more plenty by making money to help other people. So I simply say, look, I love to help. You took the initiative, you did the work, you reached out and say, would you come and talk to people that I talk to? And I'd say, sure, I'd love to. I don't want to be paid. If I have the time, I'll do it, because I know it's called paying it forward. And if we all just do that, we have a way better world to live in. So you were kind enough, and you went out of your way. You wrote a big letter, like you actually put some heart into it. Why wouldn't I reciprocate and say, sure, I'll give you a hand? I'm not a great, I couldn't run a good classroom because I have ADD. I'd be all over the map, just like on this call, but my heart's in it. And, I really will try to help those where I can. And I do it in a way where it makes them enough of an impact for them to go find the next step.
Sure. I think ADHD is sometimes a superpower. And I think a lot of paramedics have it. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs have it, because we can kind of see everything that's out there and then focus on what's important. Not everything is important. And you've said there's only a few things, and you keep focusing on the simple things. And that's really, really hard. But I think it's your superpower.
Well, so I think the thing that so I think it is a superpower. And I make a joke about, I was at another thing because I love to learn stuff. So I belong to something called Da Vinci 50, which is, a bunch of docs and guys really interested in longevity. And I asked one of the doctors, I'm saying, it would seem to me that people that have ADHD, that it leads to longevity. So you just look at your new president, like he's older than dirt, yet, he's still just trucking. And so I think, is there any studies on whether ADHD actually contributes to longevity? And what I thought about it is that people who have ADHD have a little squirrel mind. So we're continually attracted to new things. So we have a huge interest in life, but we can't do stupid things. So we have to say, I'm not going to do that, in spite of the fact that it's really cool and it's really shiny and it's really exciting in the moment. It's not the thing I would be best at. So either I'm going to go find the person that's the best at and get to know them. And I do that with doctors and stuff all over the freaking world because it's interesting, but I'm not going to go to medical school. or I'm not going to come to your paramed school because that's probably the most I could learn. So I just let you do it, or I'll just let the doctors do it. And I just hang out with them and try to find out what I need to know. So I do that with everything, if it's interesting.
Napoleon Hill talks about that in Think and Grow Rich, how Andrew Carnegie was the idea guy. He knew nothing about steel, but he had all of his people surround him and do masterminds to basically tell him how to do the business.
Yep. Best, 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 best.
How many businesses do you own right now?
I don't know. I don't keep track. I have a family office that keeps track. So I have passions. So I'm invested in, like the nutrition company. I'm not another one that measures brain vital signs that we just setting up a company to be the international distributor with a neurologist from Connecticut. I have a bunch of different insurance businesses in Barbados, the US, all kinds of stuff. So those are the passion ones. And I have private equity investments in a lot. And so a lot of times I just get binged and say, can we have a chat? I just want to run something by you. I don't need you operationally, but like I am either stuck or I have a question or, I'm a crisis of confidence and I really need someone to talk to that doesn't have an agenda. So things like that. And then, I do this. And I mean, I probably get 3 or 4 pitches a day on a lot of health investments because I just have a big network of people and they're not all good ideas, but I'm not afraid to say I don't think it's a good idea. And I'll even go out on a limb and say why I don't think it's a good idea.
We have just a few minutes left based on my understanding of the time. I wanted to ask you about your visualization. You talk in the book about visualization. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do to visualize and what that looks like?
So I was sick as a kid and I didn't have the best. I mean, maybe I did have the best upbringing. I don't know. I mean, it's probably things of perspective, but I used to daydream and I daydreamed about being rich. So I have a very specific dream and I daydream this dream over and over and over. So I'm like 4 and 5 and 6. I dreamed I would have $100,000 and I would have a swimming pool and all my friends would come over. And I can visualize people in the pool and jumping in and splashing and warm weather and the sunshine. And I'd have $100,000 and I'd be rich. I can tell you what triggered that. Reading Hardy Boy books. So I could read at an early age. I was severely asthmatic. So I got books and I fell in love with books. And so that would help me. I mean, I remember them living in Bay City and they were a good family and they did things together so I'm my own little world and I still visualize things. So when I have to make a big presentation, I imagine it before I even go there. And I always can imagine how it turns out. And it always does. When I did before, so I had to write a presentation for a legislative body in the U.S. on something we had that would solve a problem for the legislature to retain doctors. So I wrote the whole article in my head, literally, and then I put it on paper. So I wrote the article with the emotions. So what is the problem? Why am I the best solution? But most of the time I spoke about the problem and I said, and I've experienced this problem because I also live in Canada in a poor province, and we have a really hard time getting doctors. And as luck would have it, I'm trying to teach them my system just at the same time I'm teaching you, because a poor province that can't get doctors has sick population. So why don't we just work on this together? But I also understand you can't afford to spend any money on it. So I have to make sure the program is free. And so I figured it out. And so then off we go. And so I'm still staying in my little zone, doing what I love to do, and I'm still trying to find problems to which I can figure out the best possible solution, and then I just go and do it. Simple.
It's simple, but it's not easy. I think a lot of entrepreneurs get hit with the shiny object syndrome, and that's why some of them are really successful. I look at it like a drill. Like if you keep the center of your drill in one point and keep spinning it around, you're going to go deep and you're going to hit a lot of gold, right? But if you drill over here and drill over here and drill in multiple places, generally you're not going to do very well.
Yeah, that's because you're pulling your own leg. So, I mean, if you can't be best at something if you're not doing it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, it just got to be simple, but the problem with it, it's so simple, it can't possibly be right.
And that's the contrarian thinking that I think a lot of us struggle with. The idea of less is more, or when we're working out, we feel really weak. When we go to school and we're struggling with something, we feel stupid. But it's those struggles that actually are making us stronger.
Yep. And it's basically saying, so I mean, I didn't, when I went to school, ADD wasn't even the thing. I just could tell you that I had no capacity to memorize, period. Still don't. So I had to build systems around it. So what did I did? I could do algebra, I could do geotrig, I could do calculus, I could do physics, but I had to drop chemistry because I couldn't memorize the periodic table. I took French all the way through school, 90 average, and I dropped it when I had to memorize the irregular verbs because I couldn't. And then I tried to take French again as an adult, and I still couldn't. And I was doing one-on-one French lessons with a really experienced teacher, and she says, "Garnet, I think we should just call it a day. You cannot do it. Literally, you do not." So I've learned I cannot do things that require memorization. So I still lose my car. And it happens all the time. I took my business partner, we parked, we went to the office, daylight went in, night when I came out, I couldn't find my car. I phoned him 3 times. Finally, I found it because he said, "Look, where are you standing?" He said, "Turn right, go a block." "Okay, are you there?" "Yeah, turn left." And finally, I found my car because I just can't. So I decided I'm not going to try to run a parking lot where I'm the parking attendant. Well, it's automatic. So you just quit doing the stuff that you're not gifted at and look at the world as a series of problems, some of which you can be the best at solving. Some of the other ones you should just tell other people that you think are the best and let them go and get the glory. And I wake up every morning caring for people, but I just care for good people that share my values. And it's not always easy, but it gets to be a really simple life and really not that much turmoil in it.
You're an impressive guy for sure. What haven't I asked you that I should ask you, or what do you want to share with maybe new entrepreneurs? What else?
Well, I mean, I think if so, commit yourself to always learning. Wake up in the morning afraid of what you don't know, not proud of what you do know, and play it forward. And don't be afraid to take a chance on generosity. In my book, I tell a story, and it's still one of the most touching things that's ever happened to me. And it was almost, you could perceive it as a nothing. So I used to go to Vancouver. I'd go to the same Starbucks every morning. I'd walk in, I'd get a quad espresso before I went for my workout. There was a lady in there, a young girl in there, and she had the worst attention deficit I've ever seen, but she had phenomenal memory. She could remember my name and what I'm having. So I wouldn't even be 4 foot in the door and say, and my name and quad espresso. And so one day I said to her, "I think you have ADHD." She says, "Really? You think that?" I said, "I just think that. I mean, I know a bit about it. I've read a lot of books on it. I have it. And I wonder if you have it." So the next time I walk in, she says at the top, "Garnet, you were right. I have ADHD." And so then the next time I went, she says, "This changed my life. So now I'm going to go do sales. I really like sales, but I never could do it before because of this and this." And then she was gone. Never heard of her again. But it was just because she cared enough about me to remember my name when I walked into a Starbucks at 6 a.m. So think about it.
I hope that someday she hears that story and maybe the two of you could connect again, because that's an amazing impact. I'd love to know what happened to her.
Well, I can tell you her life will have turned out okay because, right, life is about that. She saw somebody cared enough about her to take a chance. So there's no agenda. There's no or you have ADHD and it's just, I think this could be a thing. You can check it out or not check it out. I'll likely not ever bring it up again, but this is my perception and I have enough courage to be able to say that because you have enough courage to call out my name when I'm 4 feet in the door. And so, you can go through life like that and say, and actually, if you just practice it, if you just practice those little things, always noticing someone, always noticing. So another example, I was wondering with Starbucks, And there's this maybe 28-year-old guy, and he's very, very fit looking. And I said, you must spend a lot of time on fitness or be, into sport. He says, I'm really happy you noticed. I kind of got away from it, but just the fact that you would say that, it really makes me think I need to get back at it. So it's just being kind enough to say, I noticed that you're a little stronger looking than most people. I noticed these things about you in a very positive way. And it takes so little effort. It just takes, I guess, fear. You can get over the fear of being rejected or kind of whatever. But I think that would be my big things, and try not to do as many stupid things as you do smart things. Mm-hmm. We all going to do stupid things. We can't help it. But yeah, that's kind of it.
Well, this has been absolutely amazing. How can people get in touch with you, or what else? I'll stop there. First, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, I mean, I have a book, 17 Rungs in June. If they're following your podcast, you know how to get a hold of me. Maybe you'll have enough. I think you can probably Google me. I live in West Vancouver. That might be easy. I'm sort of I'm a very severe introvert, so the social media isn't exactly me. My EA runs my social media account, so I would just Google me and send me an email, or work through your group, or Genius Network or Strategic Coach. I'm known everywhere because I've been doing it for so long.
Thank you. I know that my wife is an extreme introvert and ADHD, and so to come on a podcast like this and share your message and share it in the book probably took more for you than it does for an extrovert like me. But thank you so much for your wisdom and sharing.
I mean, thank you. You're out there teaching people how to save lives. Yeah, I'm just trying to teach people how not to be stressed out about the life they're living. So I'd say, you're doing far more for mankind than I am. But just let's all work together, and let's all pay it forward. Let's all try to do the things we're best at, and we'll make the world a way better place.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Garnet, for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate the opportunity, and thanks.